Well, welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends. And the show is taking a little bit of a revamp this week. We're going to, from now on, do the Wycombe Wanderers bit at the beginning. We're going to call it something slightly different. It never does come out on a Monday night. It always comes out on a Monday morning, afternoon, but never evening. So we're going to call it something slightly different. We're going to call it, as you can see, we're going to nick a picture from somewhere and do Chairboys Chat episode whatever, and the last game that we're going to talk about, if they haven't played, we just call it Wycombe Wanderers Plus. So let's get straight on. Is that okay?
Yeah, just might as well point out to people that this is our way of trying to get more views.
Yeah, this is our way of trying to get more views because we feel people are missing out, don't we, Kieran?
Yeah. People aren't seeing our fantastic analysis of football that goes on in the world.
The Wycombe Wanderers Plus bit, the plus, we will still have all the other stuff, but it'll be after the review. So if you think, bloody hell, what does he know? You can turn it off at that point. But any away other fans from wherever, if you think, oh, this is interesting, I'll listen on a bit, you might actually enjoy sort of bits like the quiz, etc. And we're having a look at the Premier League as well, and the number 9s in the Premier League this week. If you have a look, you can see how bad referees were last week. Okay, are we off then, Kieran? And did you just see the highlights? Kieran is in Portsmouth, and we'll bring that up. We'll bring that up when we play Portsmouth and put a picture of you on the front so they can find and get you, yes?
Oh, good. That'll make me feel really safe here in Portsmouth.
Okay. Did you see the highlights? I, of course, was at the game.
I did see the highlights, yes.
You did. What did you think to the highlights? This is the plus, is the alcohol. This is shaken, not stirred. Go on.
Sunday evening. Jeez. Well, having seen the highlights, a lot of the highlights were their chances. There was a lot of Oxford chances. Some were very good chances. They did have that effectively open goal, which Stuart was able to block on the line before we scored our first. They also had a few that I felt as if were just thrown in the highlights just because they made up the time. There was a few from a tight angle that just didn't need to be in there. I think the only two things they showed of Wycombe were our 2 goals, in which Thompson's was, long shot outside the box, fantastic goal, and McCleary waiting for the right moment to put hand them through. So apart from that, I don't have an awful lot to say, apart from the fact there was 2 very good goals that we scored, and we were able to keep out Oxford by the skin of our teeth, but it's a good clean sheet at home. Good 2-0 win.
Okay, the brief, and then we'll go into a bit more detail about the game. The brief was, I felt Wycombe deserved to win it. The game could have been entirely different because I thought Oxford started far better than Wycombe, and for the first half an hour, 35 minutes, I thought that was Oxford's for the taking, but every time they got anywhere near, it just seemed to collapse, which was very strange because Oxford's lineup of it got Taylor up front and Sykes and Brannigan in the midfield. I thought we were going to have real trouble with those. I was grateful that I might add, is it Sykes that scores? He's their goal scoring midfielder.
Yeah, he scored against us in the playoff final.
Yeah,
all those years ago. So
Taylor obviously scores most of their goals, and then Sykes scores the second lot of their goals. And I was grateful that they actually came down our left, so they were on the right hand side, so they were coming down our strongest fullback side, so I was grateful for that. That's the first thing. But they never really had a big big chance. I was really disappointed with Taylor, and I bet he was disappointed with himself as well. I have to be honest. I thought he didn't have a good game. Couldn't have been too happy with himself. And all the Wycombe crowds are taking the mickey out of him. They, don't like him for whatever reason. Cheat this, cheat that. I thought he didn't do too bad. And I like players like him. I think they got a bit of character, actually. They make it far more entertaining. I might not have said that had he scored a hat-trick, but he didn't, and he got nowhere near. I thought, so that was the first 35 minutes. Then Wycombe took more and more control and scored. And the second half wasn't at all worried. I wasn't at all worried. That's the first game for a long time I've managed to stand behind the goal and not be concerned. I was very relaxed. And when the second one went in, it was only a matter of time, in all honesty. I know I'm sort of biased, but normally I'm biting my teeth. Even at 2-0, I'm worried, but not in this case. Oxford looked great up until the final moment, and then it just collapsed, and it was never getting any nearer. So I thought Oxford had a bad game. I thought Wycombe, funny, because all the comments I made last week, let's go a bit deeper now into Wycombe. I criticised Hanlon, saying he should do a lot more.
He's just gone and scored 2 and 2, hasn't he?
Can you realise Vokes didn't play? So while I was thinking, well, Oxford were missing 2 big players, we were missing our goal scorer. It was like them missing Taylor. Vokes has scored more goals than anybody in our team, and he wasn't there. And what the difference that made was Grimmer was the player. First of all, Mr. Goalkeeper was belting it out for Hanlon to bring down, but he wasn't winning his headers. And so he changed and started banging the ball out to Grimmer, who was playing in the midfield on the right-hand side. And he was beating his man in the air every time. And so Grimmer, I thought, had a brilliant game. He did everything, but he wasn't playing a fullback. He wasn't the fullback. And he was playing in midfield. And I thought he was excellent. I was really impressed with Grimmer. And Hanlon, every time he run for the ball, or the ball was coming down, he'd never seem to win the headers. But what he did do was get in front of his man and win every 50-50 ball. He was stronger, bigger, didn't commit any fouls in doing so, I might add. He didn't have to push the player over. He just held his ground. He got in front of the players and he got that ball. And his speed meant he could get away from the players he was standing next to. I thought those two, Grimmer and Hanlon, having really put them down last week, I have to say, were excellent in this game. And Hanlon's goal, beautiful, brilliant. It was only a matter of time. Wycombe had missed a few. We'd missed a few, let's say, but don't they all? Don't they all? This is Division 1 football, and you don't score all of them, do you? I thought the statistics were fascinating. At half time, Wycombe had 50% of the ball, and we didn't look too bad. I mean, normally we have to have only 25% of the ball to look like we're going to stand a chance. Wrong way round, I realise, but that is the way we can play. But I thought what was odd at half time was, and even at the end of this game, long balls, accurate long balls, Oxford 35, Wycombe 24. Who was playing the long ball game? Well, Oxford.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I mean, Oxford were just belting the ball up front. I didn't understand that. I thought that was Wycombe's game. What is that? What do they do that now? Have they changed the whole system? They didn't start playing it out from the back until the last 20 minutes or so, and then they weren't very good anyway. But they were playing a long ball game. They weren't very good at it because
I think there's a slight misconception as to what a long ball team means. I think we're all used to a long ball team being you ping it to the big man up front. Whereas I think in our case, I think in more not relatable, but more famous case, Man City, they're a long ball team as well, but they just do very accurate long balls out wide as opposed to down the middle, which is I think what we essentially do. And I'm sure Oxford weren't quite doing that, but yeah.
But here's a really big statistic that shows an awful lot about the game. Accurate crosses. Now remember how big their centre forward is. He's not a big guy, and look at Hanlon, who is. But accurate crosses they had was 4, but they attempted 25. Wycombe only attempted 10 crosses because they played it on the ground all the way through. But it was them that was belting it up in the air into the middle, and it wasn't working.
But it shows a lack of ideas more than anything.
Yeah. Long balls they did were 99, Wycombe 77. I mean, I think Wycombe did a good job on them. And I don't know whether anybody's listened to their manager give a chit chat after the game and explain it. Have you listened to that? Can I recommend that people really do listen to that and look it up? For a manager that again tries to pass the buck by pretending he's very clever, but without he did it like a Mourinho in he doesn't actually say anything, but takes it away from himself, like it was nothing to do with him. It was about the structure of the team, but behind the dressing room. And then, what are you on? What are you talking about? I didn't understand what he was going on about. And he wasn't saying it was his fault. He wasn't saying it was the players' fault. He wasn't saying it was the people that run the club's fault. He was saying it was somewhere else. I did not understand what the guy was on. I thought he was a joke, actually. And I do, as I've said before, and I say again, please, 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 when Ainsworth does get offered a really big job, let's not get that guy. There's a few managers I wouldn't want to go near, and I have to be honest and say he's one of them. Just to mention, the other one that worries me is Milton Keynes' manager. Can't remember his name. I should do, because he was a Wycombe player, which is why it bothers me so much. I'll remember his name in a minute. The Milton Keynes manager was one of our players for years, and that's what worries me about him, that he might end up getting
what? Liam Manning.
For who?
MK Dons.
Oh no, he's moved, didn't he? He moved from MK Dons to Swansea, so he's the Swansea manager now, isn't he? Of course, I've forgotten.
Oh, Russell Martin. Yes.
Yeah, Russell Martin. That's the name. Yeah. Oh dear, please not. Let's get him. But where's my paperwork? So a bit more detail on this is that where we are in the league. Then we got rid of Oxford, thank goodness. That was, of course, one I dread. Can I just say I predicted 2-0. I got
well done.
finally
He's got one.
right. I got one right for the season. I'm happy now. I got
You
my.
need to tell me so I can put a bet on it.
Yeah. Well, now you know I've got one right. You know not to bet on any more I get. But just to say, of course, the point system in the league is really, really, because of all the different games everybody's played, you have to work out where they really are. Now, where they really are is this. This is how it should look if it was points per game. Okay. And we don't like this because it puts us in the playoffs and we wouldn't go up automatically. So we don't want it this time. We'd be totally against it this time, wouldn't we?
This time, yeah. But
yeah, this time. We wait until we're in the points per game in the top two. Then we'll fight for it, won't we? You've just frozen, I'm afraid. Are you ever coming back? Can you hear me? Yeah, there we go. Wigan are on 2.18 points per game, so they would be top of the table. Rotherham are 2 points a game. Wycombe at 1.89 points a game. Then Sunderland, I didn't write theirs down, but I know it's their next. They'll be in fourth. Milton Keynes would be in fifth at 1.77. Plymouth are on 1.72 points per game. And then Oxford wouldn't be in the playoffs. They'll be seventh at 1.65 points per game. And so, in fact, what we've got to worry about is below Plymouth, don't we? We have to worry about that getting in the top six. So the difference at the moment is Oxford are on 1.65, we're on 1.89. And that's quite a difference, actually. That's not a bad separation at the moment. And in fact, we are picking up more than 1.89 points a game in the last 5 games. So we're in fact have improved in the last 5 games from the average. So that's going well. As for just to sort of make it even more complicated for people, the expected goals per 90 for Wycombe are 1.69, because this is why we keep getting big scores. 1.69, but we are in fact putting away 1.63. So while we're all stood there thinking, oh no, we've missed again, we're not missing many, actually. We're not, you know, if you look at the chances we're getting, we are putting them away.
I mean, if we're saying it's closer to 2, but between 1 and 2 goals a game, that is pretty good if you're going to try and get into the playoffs. I'd argue closer. If it was above 2, then that is kind of automatic promotion. Between 1 and 2, if you've got a good defence, then that is kind of playoff territory, isn't it?
The expected goals against per 90 is 1.52. But they are only actually scoring 1.1. And that would suggest good defending. So we're putting our chances away and we're doing good defending. We're blocking shots.
Yeah, I'd imagine Oxford's XG was probably higher than ours yesterday.
I didn't look, I have to be honest.
But I mean, thinking about, they had their open goal, didn't they? And they had
one open goal yeah.
So I'd imagine there's maybe not above, but it would be very, very close.
Yeah. And Wycombe have kept 37% clean sheets.
1 every 3 games, isn't it? It's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with the way Wycombe are going. And as for the rest of the team, well, of course, the other player I'm not into too much is Thompson. scored a cracker. His first goal, cracker. I mean, what can you say? I mean, that's all you can say. He did it perfect, didn't he? Not a lot else in the game. Man of the match, don't get that at all. He didn't commit all the fouls he normally does. He didn't lose the ball like he did. He just wasn't in the game, really. He didn't seem to be needed in there. But Scowen, sorry, he did everything. He was terrific. He was my man of the match, I think, in the end, or Hanlon. I think either of those could easily have been. I thought Scowen was brilliant.
I think you could liken Scowen to a maybe slightly younger version of Milner. He'll definitely get booked every single game he plays.
Yeah.
But he'll put in very good challenges and will kind of mess up that midfield of theirs, whilst also being half decent on the ball.
I think if I had to take a player out and think what difference would it have made, the player that you would take out that would have made the biggest difference to Wycombe would be him. That's why I think that would have disrupted the whole game, could have turned the whole game without him. That's why I would have given him man of the match, because I think he had that midfield. That was his. And that was just so important. The rest of them, fine. Solid. I mean, no worries really with the rest of them. The rest of them played well. Hopefully
we can actually keep a centre-back pairing of Stewart and Tafazoli for more than 2 games.
I have to say, Tafazoli, there looked like there was something wrong with him. He went down about 3 times onto his knees and slowly managed to get back up again and wasn't taken off. And I wonder there was something wrong with him, and I'm not quite sure what. As for the rest of the Football League in our division, sure. Ooh, have you got the league table up there, Kieran?
Do you want the table or the fixtures? I'll have both, can't I? Yeah.
The couple that were really important to us, I suppose. One, have to mention Sunderland. Love watching a couple of podcast things by Sunderland fans. One of them, the guy, if Sunderland win, then they're a dream team, and the following week when they lose, he's got his head in his hands and he's crying and moaning and the world has come to an end. And I love watching his podcast. It's very emotional.
A bit like Goldsbridge.
I don't think he's married, and I don't think there's anything else in his life, but I think he's very entertaining, would be the word I'd put it. And he's sometimes right as well. And that, of course, is Sunderland. I mean, they were 1-0 up against a 10-man Accrington, and they put all their players up front for right at the end for a corner that they'd got. And they broke, and the goalkeeper got it and kicked it out, and they went plodding up the other end and scored. I mean,
Accrington still had more shots than Sunderland did.
Yeah, I think Sunderland are going downhill, aren't they? I mean,
it's difficult to say because it's only 2 games in which they've just played us and they've played Accrington. But
no, they drew. As that they just drew that. They lost they drew Wycombe and they lost during midweek.
Oh, they did lose during midweek, you're right. Yeah, maybe them.
There's already calls for the manager's head. Can you believe? I noticed on what people have been writing about Johnson going, and
the lowest they can be is 4th. Like, give them a break. When the other teams catch up with all their games, that's ridiculous.
I think it's funny. I do think it's funny. I think. I mean, Well, I mean, I'm not a great fan of Lee Johnson anyway. I don't think it. I mean, mind you, you don't really know about these managers, what they stand and say in front of the camera, what they're really like. You don't know. They're just in front of the camera. I mean, you have to say Ainsworth doesn't exactly come across too intelligent in front of a camera. All he says, and I haven't seen this one, but I'll tell you what he said. He's really proud of the lads.
Yeah, absolutely. I could give you a Brendan Rodgers interview right now. I could do it for him, to be honest, and you could do an Ainsworth one. Yeah. They're all pretty obvious. It's all like they're robots.
Yeah, they got nothing to say. They're not going to tell us anyway. And Lee Johnson's the same. And so what he's really like, I don't know. But blimey, he has been a successful manager. In all fairness to this guy, Lee Johnson has done a good job at other places. And if they're already talking about getting him out, then I think Sunderland, yeah. So that was one, and of course the other one was Rotherham. What happened to Rotherham?
They lost to Fleetwood in the 95th minute.
Yeah, Fleetwood's pitch is disgusting. It's a mud bath. I don't know how much difference that makes, but if I remember their style of play, it's probably a bonus to them. So they don't put the ball on the ground, do they, Rotherham?
Well, they have to a little bit because they've got Will Grigg up front, don't they? And he's like 5'8". He ain't
right.
Many headers.
Okay. It was interesting because I was listening to a bit of commentary the other day, and they said something like, well, between the two up front, that makes about 25 foot they've got running around up front. I was thinking, 25.
Am I right in saying that? I must be wrong. Here's Will Grigg. Yeah, I'm not. Will Grigg is about 5'8". I don't know.
I think they got that. But then they said 25 foot for two players. I think that's. Yeah. I think that's a circus, isn't it?
I think that's commentator trying to be funny, or just commentator being a bit dumb.
Yeah. It could be the 11 dwarf players. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I'm not. You're
making up 25 feet.
Just saying, the dwarf players. Just to mention, did you see what? We'll finish the Wycombe bit in just one sec. But did you see? Sort of related. Was it Manchester United? Where we are, here we are, where Thomas is surprised now, Lewis Baker leaves Chelsea, blah, blah, blah. Manchester United warn fans. Oh, yeah, there's the bit. Here you go. United have sent a warning email to a section of supporters who attended a home fixture against Wolves on January the 3rd after discriminatory language was allegedly directed toward an opposition player in relation to their height. So they put in a complaint about discrimination against somebody's height. There you go. I'll probably get some complaints now.
I mean, yeah, we'll get the channel banned.
Yeah,
already. Just after you've renamed it all.
That's a tall goalkeeper. Ooh, naughty! You can't say that.
Who can we say? No, I was going to say who can we say else is small? Can't do that.
No. Gary Lineker.
Don't think Gary watches. Priya, if you've got to this part, you're small.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else we want to talk about this league? We've got Milton Keynes next week.
Another biggie. If we can knock them on the head, then that is a real bonus. And we're in the race.
And both Wigan and Rotherham have got a game on Tuesday. So we're hoping for 2 losses there, and then into Saturday we go. So we live in hope. We live in hope.
If we
Okay.
can get if we can give Man City a loss as well, that'd be nice.
Yes, we'll come to all that. So now that's the Wycombe and League One part. If you want to depart, then off you go. If you want to stay for the other, what we normally try to fit in about, we usually say
in an hour.
Yeah. We're actually going to be talking about sort of false nines, number nines throughout the Premier League. And I was going to discuss slightly the 4-2-2 Man United. And just to mention, you said last week when I said Chelsea, and you said, no, not Chelsea. They played it a 4-2-2-2. They used that in the League Cup. So,
great.
Up yours.
They use it once in a competition that doesn't matter. Actually, they were playing Spurs, so they were probably just trialing it out.
Yeah, it don't matter then, does it?
No.
Okay, and before we get on to that point, we always have this great time, and it's called Kierans Quiz time. But the difference is, because it's also called Wycombe Wanderers Plus, I'm going to play a song from one of a new album that's just come out. It's an electronic, and I'll write the name of it underneath if you like it, and I'm going to use that to introduce Kieran's Quiz time. See whether you can keep up. There's 5 questions on Liverpool and 5 questions on the Premier League, and I want you to answer fast, please. Here we go. Okay.
You'll ask me questions about which Serie A player has won the most golden boots, and I'll be like, I don't know.
So which Serie A won? Okay, the Liverpool questions. Okay, Now we're going further back. We're going back to a great year. A year when everything turned for Mummy and Daddy, and little Kieran was born. And this is the FA Cup in 2001.
Right.
Get your head round it.
I know off my head 2 of the matches that Liverpool plays.
All right, well, that's a shame, because you're going to have to come up with a few more than that.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Who did Liverpool beat 3-0 at home in the 3rd round? Leeds, Rotherham or Scunthorpe?
Wouldn't have been Leeds. Scunthorpe.
That's a shame. It was Rotherham.
Yeah.
Who did Liverpool beat 2-1 away in the 4th round? Cambridge, Leeds or Peterborough?
We'll go with Leeds.
It was. Do you know the answer to that? Or are you guessing?
I'm trying to recall different games and goals that we played in around that time. It's all those DVDs you used to buy me.
Yeah. Okay, what score did Liverpool beat Manchester City at home in the 5th round? 4-0, 4-1 or 4-2?
It's a shame. I thought it was 3-0. 4-0.
No, it's 4-2.
Isn't it?
Who did Liverpool beat 4-2 away in the 6th round? Blackburn, Bristol or Tranmere?
6-0.
No.
What did
Who
you
did
say?
Liverpool beat 4-2 away in
4-2.
Blackburn, Bristol or Tranmere?
Tranmere wouldn't have got up to that point. Bristol might have done. Go Bristol.
Tranmere.
What? How are they in the 6th round?
The same as this question.
Yeah.
Who did Liverpool beat 2-1 in the semi-final? Arsenal, Tottenham or Wycombe Wanderers?
They've given really good options for that one. 2 really good teams or Wycombe.
What do you mean 2 really good teams? 2 really good teams and Tottenham is what you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. I should have said that, actually. That was a good one. Wycombe.
Yeah, Wycombe. Oh dear, the memory.
Yeah. What was that? 2 out of 5 then?
So yeah, I think so. That wasn't very good. I thought that was pretty shocking, Kieran. You're going to have to do better at this one, mate. Right, now to the Premier League. Okay. Who is the only Bulgarian player to have a Premier League winners medal?
Oh. Bulgarian. Berbatov, is he Bulgarian?
You're correct. He is.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him. No, it was. It was. Okay. Can you name the 3 Nigerian players that have Premier League winners medals?
Nigerian. I'm trying to think who's Victor Moses.
That's
correct. Nigerian?
Yeah.
This one. Nigerian. John Obi Mikel?
That's correct.
Oh. I think he plays for Chelsea. I can't picture anyone. I can just imagine he plays for Chelsea, the next person.
It's Arsenal, isn't it?
Arsenal?
Kanu? Is he Arsenal?
Kanu. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, I'll let you have that point.
That was 2. Yeah, sure.
2 father-son duos have won the Premier League. Can you name the 2 father-son duos?
Ooh.
Actually, one of them's now got a grandchild playing.
Oh. Ian Wright and Sean Wright Phillips?
Yeah, that's one.
Is that the one who had a grandchild that's now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was. So that was actually in my head, but I wasn't sure if Ian Wright actually won it.
Strange, because I thought the next one was the easier of the 2.
You think? It must be Man United somehow. I don't know.
Schmeichel.
Oh, yeah.
Peter and Casper.
Yeah, I should have got that.
Which Premier League defender has won the most Premier League titles?
I'm assuming it's Man United. Could be Neville.
Yeah, Gary, yeah. Which Premier League striker has won the most Premier League medals? Oh, no.
Why are you saying, oh, no? Because it's an obscure one.
No, it's not.
Rooney couldn't have won that many. Not enough, I don't think.
I'll give you a little clue. We've discussed him rather a lot on this programme.
Can't be Harry Kane.
No.
We've discussed him a lot on this programme.
Ollie.
Is it? Oh.
There you go, Ollie. Okay, let's move on then. That was the Kieran.
That was rubbish.
Okay, now we're moving on. First of all, the 4222 system. It's simple to explain, otherwise I wouldn't bother doing it. When you hear people discuss that on TV, can I just say they're just being smart-ass? Because yes, it sort of exists, and yes, you have to pick the players to play that system, not the general midfielder play it. But all they're doing is you've got your 4 at the back, you'd use your 2 wide players at the back to get up and down your side of the pitch in that half, or further, depending on who you're using. But they're basically using your 2 wide fullbacks to play the part of the wide midfield. Therefore, they don't need 4 along the midfield because they have 2 fullbacks playing those holes. So they just turn that 4 and put those 2 up there and those 2 back here a bit. And now they've covered, there's a lot more bits you got to get through. And so the 2 front midfield now link up better with the front two at the front players, the forwards, and the two at the back midfield link up better with the defence, and if necessary, go wide with the two centre backs coming in. And it is that simple. There is not a lot different. It is not clever. It's not brainwave. It's not foreign. It's pretty simple, really. It's almost like just having your 4-4-2 and saying to these two players, come in a bit when needed. The only difference is that two are to defend and two are to attack.
Yeah. It's still having 4 attacking-minded players and 2 defensive-minded, like they were doing before with their 2 holders and their. Instead of just having 2 wingers, an attacking midfielder and a striker, they've just got 2 strikers and 2 attacking midfielders.
Yeah,
it does mean that I imagine they don't have much going on out wide because I don't think they've got the fullbacks for it.
That's right. Whereas Liverpool or some teams have that, it would work far better. Liverpool could play, although they don't. Liverpool could play a 4-2-2-2 system far better than Manchester United can. I don't get it, because for Manchester United that'd end up actually working as a 4-2-4.
Yeah, because it sort of does. To be honest with you, that's kind of how they play it. It's weird as well because it kind of seemed from an outsider's point of view that United's problem was that their players almost didn't understand the system and they weren't putting enough work to understand the system.
But
the bloke, yeah. But I mean,
and how long did that take?
Yeah, you get the impression though that if you say to your players, the Man United players, we're playing a 4-2-2-2, their minds are going like, "Oh no, what the flip does that mean? Where have I got to be?" I don't think it will never work for them. It will never work for them. And I don't understand why the manager came in and thought it was going to, because it evidently wasn't.
See the interview with Ronaldo.
Mate, he was trying to rile them up, wasn't he? He's not happy. You can say that.
He's not happy. He's not an happy bunny. No.
One of the things he was saying was, or one of the apparent things he's been saying is the lack of effort that the players are putting in training. Apparently, he is one of the only people who, for example, goes to the gym before and after training and all that sort of thing. None of the others do it. Like, none of the young players do it. They don't have any, or apart from Ronaldo, arguably, they don't have any kind of leaders or senior players who are kind of showing them the ropes. It's almost like Sancho and Rashford, all them, are the senior players, and they're not. They're like 22, 23 kind of thing.
I thought he made it clear that the younger players aren't doing as they're told.
They're not mentally tough enough, maybe, sort of thing.
And what about Rashford? Did you see the Aston Villa game? Not the one Saturday, but
the one on previous. Monday. Yeah. Wow.
You see, what worries me is I do not think that's because he is feeling down a bit. I don't think it's because he needs encouragement. I don't think it's because of this. I think actually Marcus Rashford needs help. Serious help. I think he has a problem. In the world of mental health out there, man, I think he's got a problem.
It wouldn't shock me. Absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. We're never going to know if he does or if any footballer does, because imagine exposing that sort of information about a footballer. But it wouldn't shock. I mean, his form has been going on for a goodness amount of time, as forever. And so you never know what goes on behind closed doors. It definitely wouldn't shock me.
No. I hope they do look at that. I really do. Now, the other two very quick bits, and then we get on to the number 9s of all the other teams, and the quick chit chat on them is that Rafa Benitez has gone, the 25th manager, the 25th manager in this season. That's not bad. We're clearly over 25% of the managers are being sacked out of the 92 clubs this year. Okay, he was there for 6 months, 18 days. His win rate was 32%. So it's 22 games. He only won 7, 4 drew, 11 lost. Now, can you name, is your next bit of quiz, can you name who else in the Premier League which managers are worse than a 32% win rate? Some of them are easy. There's one I don't think is.
Newcastle, Eddie Howe.
Yeah, what do you reckon his win rate is? Well, now it's 10. 10% he's on.
I was going to say, I wasn't convinced he's actually won.
Yeah, that's one.
Steve Bruce, if he's still on the list, technically.
No, he's not. No, I mean ones that are there.
Ones are there. Dean Smith.
Yeah, he's got 27% win rate.
Yeah.
2 others.
Watford manager.
Yeah,
Ranieri.
Ranieri. Ranieri. Don't sound
Ranieri.
Right. 15%. Says
He hasn't been there long, in all fairness to him.
No. So that's the obvious. That's the your obvious Newcastle, Norwich, and Watford.
Burnley?
No. This is over his career, and Burnley.
Oh, his career,
and not this season. And there's one other. This that has done really bad at this team.
Yeah, I'm wanting you to say Rangnick.
It's
not.
No, it's Vieira. Patrick Vieira has only got a 26% win rate.
No.
Just got a few
Pats are doing all right.
He's just got a few more draws.
I'm just going to have a quick look at the table.
Oh, you don't believe me?
No, it's not. I don't believe. He's won. You're not wrong, to be fair. Won 5 out of 21 in the league, drawn 9.
Yeah. It's his draw rate is good, not his win rate.
Yeah.
So his win rate is 26%. So there you go. Wow. That was the one that surprised me. I think the others were easy to guess. Okay, now on to a few little cliches, and then we hit it. Just to mention, I cannot stand when people say, I just want to say, with respect to Everton. I can't stand that, with respect to, and then they make out their crap. That line really bugs me, and I hear Alan Shearer say it so often. So with respect to Alan Shearer, he could actually be good, but he isn't. With respect, Alan.
Yeah, but you have to say with respect, don't you?
Because
otherwise people think you're being mean.
The team we played were crap. When will your shit go out of fashion? Now everybody plays it out the back because you don't get a chance. And so when they play it all around the back and give it back to the goalkeeper, everybody go, your shit, and he passes it sideways. It doesn't have the same, I feel we're missing something behind the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because even from goal kicks, that's the classic, but they pass it out from there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I imagine they love it when we come down to an away match.
Yeah, they get a chance, don't they?
They get a chance to sing it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And last bit before hitting the one subject left, and that is I'm trying to think desperately hard the name of the team. I could look it up. There's an African team that was playing at them this week, and they had 3 starting players with the name Kamara plus 2 subs. with the name Kamara. And at one point, the 2 subs came on.
What's those 5 people on the pitch called Kamara?
Yeah, it's better than Smith. Better than Smith. And funny, because I couldn't find any in any of the other African teams.
Oh, really?
Which is really odd.
Specific to that nation.
Wales with Jones, I guess.
Yeah, has to be.
Okay, number 9s. Ready for the number 9s? This year, there are few number 9s that dominate the goal scoring. The old guy up front, who was your central he's in there man, that isn't so knocking around. And now it's been since 2013, nobody has finished top goal scorer and finished playing for the champions. So Mo Salah, just to warn you, mate, you might win the Golden Boot, but whoever wins the Golden Boot does not win the trophy. That hasn't happened since Robin van Persie for Manchester United back in 2013.
But we know why this is, isn't it? It's because either Man City win it or Harry Kane wins the Golden Boot. This is the problem. Man City just don't have strikers because they just can't. But
this is a trend only in Premier League and not across Europe. So, back in 2016-17, Harry Kane scored 29, Lukaku 25, Sanchez 24, Costa and Aguero scored 20. Were any of those serious number 9s, Kieran? Harry Kane is?
They're all serious number 9s, were they not? Apart from Sanchez, maybe. You could argue he's a winger.
Yeah. 2011-12, we had Van Persie, Rooney, Adebayor, Lukaku. I don't know. I can't read my own writing there.
It would have been Lukaku.
But can you imagine when I think it was Rooney and Van Persie were actually put together for the following season. So your 2 top goal scorers that season were put together for the following. 2006-07, we had Drogba, Mark Viduka. I mean, we've always had these number 9s. Okay. And that we think of as strength, power, physical, like Lukaku is. Is that what we look for anymore? Liverpool.
Wingers.
They're wingers. Do they have a number 9?
I'm not sure. Firmino counts. Well, he's false 9, isn't he? I'm not sure Jota, when he does play there, really counts as a striker. He's more of a attacking midfielder. So
would you say they don't have a number 9? Because I want to get
not an out and out number 9 like your Van Persies and your Drogbas and all that sort of thing. No.
Because see, what I'm getting to is I got fed up with listening to them always keep saying, "Oh, but City don't have a number 9." And I was thinking, well, not many teams actually do nowadays.
No.
So why do they just keep on and on and on about Manchester City? So Liverpool, do they have a number 9?
No.
No, not in the sense that we know them. Arsenal. Now, they've had Lacazette, Aubameyang, Ketia up front. Any of them a number 9?
Lacazette is, yeah. Aubameyang is more of a winger, and Nketiah doesn't really play.
Right.
Just having a look at the goal scoring charts now, their top scorer is Emil Smith-Rowe, who is a cam.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Do they need to buy? I presume. I mean, Aubameyang's gone, hasn't he?
yeah,
Should do. Lacazette. They're going to replace him surely in the summer. So the guy I've looked up for them to buy is from Florentina, Dusan Vlahovic.
Vlahovic.
Yeah, he's 21 years old. He's scored 19 goals in 23 games.
Yeah,
70 million.
He has the joint record for the most number of goals in a calendar year in Serie A. Hence why Arsenal are having a look at him. The only thing he doesn't have is a name as such. Like obviously no one's ever really heard of him before. Hence why all the big teams aren't going for him as opposed to Mbappe and Haaland. But he looks pretty good.
Yeah, and the plus is he's 21.
Yeah.
And Arsenal have, as we discussed before, the best rated age perfect for next year. They're going to be the perfect age for next year in all positions. Spurs. Son is their leading goal scorer with 8. Problem is he isn't a striker. Goals per 90. Kane.
0
problem, really, isn't he?
He's not doing too well, is he, this season, bless him?
Well, this last 4 seasons back, he was picking up 0.6 goals per 90. Following season, 0.6 goals per 90. Following season, 0.6 goals per 90. Very, very. This year, 0.2, and that includes penalties.
And that includes, I imagine, the crappy Europa League conference games that he's been playing in.
Yeah, not done very well. So what's his problem? Is he's drifting to the left and he's not central? Is that a problem?
Well, we thought it was a problem at the Euros, didn't we?
We did.
Or him just drifting, to be honest.
He drifts. Yeah. Kane drifts. So he's 4 goals and only 1 assist. Is this a physical or mental thing?
Could be a mental thing because he obviously, I mean, everyone's kind of forgotten about it, but there was all the talk about him going to Man City in the summer, wasn't there? And that collapsed. Spurs as a team and as a club have near enough collapsed. And so I can't imagine the most motivating place to be at, to be honest. Like, because Son signed a contract recently there, and you're kind of like, why?
I know.
You could easily go somewhere else.
Anywhere, couldn't he?
Yeah. People would take him. People would absolutely.
Is there anyone who wouldn't?
I think he would fit.
We'd have him at Wycombe.
Wow, yeah. I think he would fit Man City's team better than even Grealish.
Yes.
They probably should have gone for Son as opposed to Grealish because, I mean, the only thing with Spurs is that obviously Levy is most arrogant owner out there, and so trying to buy off them is impossible. But yeah, it just seems very peculiar. And Kane's not going to be able to get to City now. He's too late.
No, yeah, that's gone. Say goodbye to that. I think he's had it. I think he's stuck where he is, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, don't want to make him into a devil's advocate or anything, but he's going to have as much influence in the Premier League as Peter Crouch did. Let's say, like,
yeah, he's a name. It's called Shearer.
Shearer without the Premier League. That's what he is, essentially. The only thing that Kane really has going for him is that he's captain of England. And if England obviously do anything, then by all means, he should take a lot of the credit.
which is funny.
But in terms of club,
have him in the England team, so
no, this is
lucky
the
he's
thing.
got that. Really,
Yeah. No,
okay.
bless him.
Bless him. Yeah. Oh, we do like him. At least he gets the opportunity as captain to be able to hack somebody down and get a card, eh? Newcastle. Joe Linton, and we got the others to discuss as well. Let's just start with Joe Linton first, shall we? Do you know
he's not playing as a striker now, though, is he?
He never was a striker, and here's where the problem came. When he was bought, he used to be a number 8.
And
he was put by Moron. Bruce, Moron, whatever you want to call him, up front as a number 9. And he's never played as a number 9 before. And I used to think he was shocking, Joe Linton. But it's like putting you in goal.
Yeah.
And then blaming you for letting the balls go in the net. And once I found out he never was, he was a central midfielder. And he was finally played as a central midfielder, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he had a good game.
He got man of the match against Man United, and people were like, oh, he's actually all right.
Yeah. So I've just written next to him, mistake by Moron, is what I've written. And let's be honest, that wasn't the first mistake Bruce made. What about the other two? I mean, and then
the one they've just bought?
Discussed Burnley.
Well, do you mean the player that Newcastle have just bought off of Burnley?
Yeah. What's going to happen there?
30 million for a player who scored 3 goals this season.
I know.
That's mad, isn't it?
He's not going to save them, is he?
You know what? I don't think it's a bad signing, though. If the route they're kind of going for, like they put in a lot of crosses, don't they, Newcastle? Teams towards the bottom put in a lot of crosses because they don't have many other ideas.
Just to mention, he is a number 9.
He's a number 9. Yeah. They now have Trippier, who can cross a ball. It might work out for me. It's not going to be a season-changing signing, but it might win a few games, I reckon.
I suppose he'll be happy to play in the Championship. Because he probably will be.
Yeah.
Okay. They've got another player at Burnley now, because they've got a bit of a problem now at Burnley, like a lack of. And they've got a guy called Maxwell Carney. Maxwell Carney?
Cornet.
Yeah. He plays more as a number 10. Yeah. He's played 8 games. How many goals has he scored? Any?
He's scored a lot, hasn't he? He's on 6.
Yeah.
And he's got a 38% goal conversion rate, which is very good.
This might actually push Burnley into playing a decent player instead of what's it would.
Why has he only played 10 games? Has he been injured then?
I don't know.
He scored 6 in 10. And every time I've seen Burnley play and heard his name, he's always been very good. So they do need to fix up a bit.
Yeah, I think he's going to be the obvious sort of, I can see
one for teams to buy when they get relegated. He hasn't
been getting games because of the other one. That's what I reckon. But it'd be interesting to know. Okay, let's do City, United and Chelsea in one big wallop. We know, I mean, City don't have that number 9. Does it matter? And will they do anything about it in the summer?
Well,
do they need to? In all seriousness,
not really, do they? But do you reckon this is why Lukaku's not doing too well at Chelsea, or any number 9 for that matter? The only number 9 that's actually doing all right, and he's barely even doing all right now, is Vardy. He's 3rd in the goal scoring charts, but Lukaku hasn't done anything.
Vardy often plays out wide as well.
Yeah, And the two best teams in the league, assuming that Liverpool are better than Chelsea, which I think they are, don't really have a striker. And Lukaku is your big boy number 9, and he's not doing well. And strikers for Chelsea have not done well. The only one that goes against that is Costa. He was the only one in the last 10 years who's actually done all right for them as a number 9. So that I don't know if there is a switch that's kind of happening in football. Recently, we've obviously had
League, I might add,
only in the Premier League though, because you've obviously still got Lewandowski, Haaland all smashing it in Germany.
Yeah.
France is useless. Spain, you got Spain, you got Benzema. Benzema coming into the form of his life for some reason at the age of 33, 34. So here's a weird one that strikers aren't really a thing in the Premier League at the moment.
No.
It's all about wingers.
And what about United?
They got Ronaldo, who was on 8 in 16 games, which is all right, but I think they're expecting more, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's weird because we're up to the 22nd game of the season. There's only 2 players who have reached double figures, which is pretty poor, to be honest. And they're both from Liverpool, for crying out loud.
Yeah. You mentioned Vardy, but there aren't many players in the Premier League like Vardy.
No.
I mean, I'm a massive Vardy fan. I've always been a massive Vardy fan. I've always thought he should be in the England team rather than. But he's never involved in any build-up. Okay,
No.
never. He never comes short for the ball, like certain strikers do. And I'm not just talking about Kane. I am talking about Lukaku as well. His average is 21 touches per 90, whereas most other footballers and most other strikers even have double that figure. But he does an awful lot of running off the ball and opening spaces up. But he doesn't touch the ball. His touches of the ball go in the net. And I think he is unique. Actually, I like him. He's got the room and the space, and he makes the breaks, and he makes the running, pulls players. I like Vardy. I don't know what Leicester will do without him.
But that's when they'll definitely be stuffed, won't they, Leicester?
Yeah, I think they come across a bargain, which they couldn't afford. They won't be able to go out and buy a Vardy.
Oh, no. There's no one like him. No.
West Ham. Now we come to a number 9, maybe. Antonio.
Well, right back turns number 9, but yeah.
Yeah. He scores 1 in 2 games.
Yeah, just slightly less. He had a very good start to the season.
Of course, I haven't.
No. And he's got 8 goals and 6 assists in 21 games. And normally I would be like, yeah, that's fantastic, especially for a West Ham striker. But I'm thinking a lot of those came very early on. His form recently hasn't been so bright. But then they've had Bowen, who seems to be scoring every game now at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But he's essentially a Lukaku. He is similar play style, doesn't he?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think what he's got, how many assists?
6.
And Kane has got 1.
Yeah. Well, Antonio is 6th in terms of assists. And of course, you've got people like Trent, Salah, Bowen above him. So he's in good company in that respect.
Yeah. Watford. Dennis, which they didn't let go. Naughty Watford.
Yeah.
8 goals, 5 assists. And they've got King and Saar. Yeah. Trouble is, there's no goals coming from anywhere else.
No.
And I thought, is it Dennis that also has on the nutmegs chart? His top. I think
I ain't got that in front of me, unfortunately, but I'm sure.
That. Right.
No.
He's a bit of a show off in that sense. But 8 goals, 5 assists.
He'll be a player that people have a look at, won't he?
He won't be Watford for long, will he?
No, I mean people did have a look at Saar for a long time when he was in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago, because he did similar things to what Dennis is doing now, but he's kind of fallen off a little bit. Maybe it's when Wycombe kept him out in the Championship. Maybe. But yeah, Dennis is very decent. I'm not sure he's kind of top 6 standard, but he can get into the Spurs team.
I was going to say Crystal Palace sort of.
Yeah, he'd fit in alongside Zaha and Eze and those sort of players.
I was just getting to those. I was going to stick Aston Villa, Southampton, and Crystal Palace sort of, but I'm not going to now. Aston Villa need to be separated, or do they? They don't have a standard number 9.
No, because you say that. I mean, Danny Ings is as much for number 9 as you can probably get these days. Watkins, we anticipated, was their number 9, is normally on the wing now. They have a lot of interesting attacking players, Aston Villa now, especially with, as in Coutinho in there.
He scored
and assisted against United. I'm sure Stevie loved that.
Yeah.
But they've got Buendia, Coutinho, Watkins, who's the young guy who also scored against United. Can't quite remember his name, but he's up and coming. They have a lot of interesting attacking players, and as long as they can keep a balance with their CTMs as well, and they should be all right.
As long as they don't go down.
They're not going down. Villa.
You look at the table, mate. They're not exactly bombing along in the top half, are they?
They're 13th. Yeah, they. In all fairness, they've played like all the best teams recently.
Yeah, and how many points clear are they?
Of the bottom 3?
Yeah.
10.
Oh, maybe.
Norwich, Newcastle, and Burnley are a long way off, mate.
All right, I'll let you.
I didn't realise that Burnley have only won 1 game this season. How's Deitch not been sacked yet?
Well, there's your question. That's why I was looking at the percentage of wins. I was seeing who's going next.
Yeah.
Okay, Southampton and Crystal Palace. Well, Southampton have got Brogger and Armstrong.
Broja.
And Armstrong. I mean, Armstrong, of course, came from
Blackburn.
Yeah, it must have been. Yeah. He looked good
in the Championship. Yes.
Is he enough in Southampton? I'm not.
He's scored 2 in 20 so far.
It's not enough.
It doesn't seem as though he's getting minutes as well. Like the fact he's played 20 games. I mean, he's had 31 shots and scored 2. Of course, he did look very good in the Championship. It's not looking like it's working out too well in the Prem.
No, I don't think.
But then he's got 48% of his shots on target. It's just he's not putting them in the corners. So maybe that's a little bit of a lack of confidence to actually put a bit of meat behind it.
Put his laces through the ball. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they do have Broja, who's on loan from Chelsea, I think. And he is, especially in the last few games, he's been kind of their talisman. He looks like a bit of a Costa as well. He's got a bit of fierceness behind him as well.
Crystal Palace got Edouard.
Benteke,
yes. Yes. Oh, does Benteke need to go down into the Championship to be good?
He was all right for that one. He's lived off of one season at Aston Villa for a good 8 years now. I don't know how he's managed it, but fair play to the bloke. I'm sure he's made money.
And what about Edward? Do you reckon Edward? He's gonna
Where's he? He's come from Celtic, hasn't he? He scored 5 in 19, got 3 assists. He's all right.
That's not bad for Crystal Palace.
No, I mean you're not expecting Palace to.
I mean, when they've only won 26% of their games or something.
Yeah, I mean you're not expected to have someone at Palace who's getting 20 goals a season kind of thing. So I don't think it's too bad. Obviously Gallagher is their standout at the moment in terms of goals and assists. He's top of both lists. So
midfielder though. Midfielder.
He's a midfielder though, isn't
Number
he?
9.
So,
Okay. 9's not scoring. Wolves.
Yeah.
Brentford. And Brighton.
That's one that has surprised me that hasn't done much is Tony for Brentford.
Well, and the other guy who in Burmo, I don't know, something like that.
And Bemo, don't know, but they haven't. They haven't.
You can't spot.
They haven't exactly shone, have they? I don't know because it's weird because they're doing okay in terms of their number of points in the league table, but no, you never hear Ivan Toney's name get mentioned if Brentford win or do anything.
No,
there's probably one for a Brentford fan to talk about as opposed to us because obviously they watch all the games and all that sort of thing. But from an outsider's perspective, at the moment, it's not quite working out for him.
No, Wolves.
Jimenez, who's just come back from, He
scored
back from I think he did score, didn't he? Traore scored, which hasn't happened for a flipping long time.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that was a shock.
Yeah. Wolves have an awful lot of people who have scored goals, but their top scorers only have 4, which is Jimenez, Perence, and Hichan. And they've got quite a lot of people who are on 1 and a few on 2 or 3. One name here is Ruben Neves, who Man United are looking at to sign for £50 million.
Are they really?
Of course they are.
Of course.
Which would be a laugh, wouldn't it?
Well, surely if he wants to further his career, that's the last place he'd go.
Yeah.
Hey, have a chat with Sancho, yeah?
Yeah.
Brighton.
They've Mope's got 8 in 20 games, which is pretty good.
Not bad, actually. I was thinking of how many he misses.
No, he does miss a few. What was it? In the Premier League, he's had 32 total shots and scored 8, so 25% goal conversion rate, which is all right. Yeah, it does require him to have 4 shots a game and for him to score 1, but then they've got people like McAllister and Trossard who are their next top scorers because unfortunately, Danny Welbeck is not as clinical as he used to be. Unless it was against Chelsea. He did score against Chelsea, which was very nice. But they need one more to really stand a chance of staying in the top half, don't they? One more person who scores a few. Because they do need more than just Mope.
Norwich. Are we going to discuss the weed up front?
The weed? It's not very nice, is it? I mean, you can if you want to, but I'm not the most knowledgeable person about Norwich.
I'm sorry, but he is not. What's his name?
Pookie.
I'm afraid he is not Premier League. I'm afraid.
You know what? I reckon he probably, if he played for Southampton, he would score more goals.
Yeah.
but I don't think he's going to take any team anywhere in terms of getting to the top half, which I'm assuming is what most teams would be looking for.
Yeah.
So I don't blame you.
And then we come to really the last two, and that's, well, it is the last two. That's Everton and Leeds. Injured and suffering is what I wrote next to them. And next to Everton, underneath, I put Rondon shocking.
Yeah.
And they are what I would sum up. I mean, Leeds, you can only put injured and suffering. I mean, it's not their fault. They beat West Ham 3-2 today.
It's a very good result.
Incredible. And their two players had to go off injured after about 20 minutes, Leeds. And they had to bring on a 17 and an 18-year-old who had never played in the first team.
Oh, really? I didn't even see that.
Left. That's all they've got left is players out there under 21s who have never played. That's what they've got sat on the bench. And they'll probably be playing in the next game again. And they won. And I thought, thank goodness for that. I want them to get through this season with those injured players. You know, I want them to make it.
Yeah. I mean, they've got Daniel James up front, and not to say that, not respect to Daniel James.
Oh, there you go, yeah.
But he's not a striker, and he's not going to be your talisman in the Premier League. So they evidently do miss Bamford a lot, don't they?
They do. And as for Rondon,
well, that's just because they've had Calvert-Lewin is injured, isn't it? Rondon is that is the most Rafa Benitez signing I've ever seen.
Amazing. Rondon has followed him around, you know.
Yeah.
He's been everywhere. So whoever employs Wally as your manager next, you will be getting Rondon, just as a warning. He comes in the bag. He comes in the kit bag. I think he's been, is it like 4 or 5 of the same teams, I think. He's just following, he just comes along. I don't know whether they've got a sort of thing going on that we don't know, nobody knows about, or what. I don't know.
Rather not know.
No, but it can't be for his football skills, surely. Or manager's skills. I don't know which one follows which. I don't know. But anyway, I think that just about finishes it off. I did think about finishing with a dwarf joke that I heard the other day. But having just read the Manchester United thing, I don't know whether it's because he was tall and they made a comment, or whether he was short that they made a comment. Yesterday at Wycombe Wanderers, they did, the ref stopped the game and wandered over to the two managers to discuss something about there had obviously been some funny comment made at Mr. Wycombe goalkeeper in pink. And people were asked not to say things so horrible. And then we had a guy who hopped on the pitch and did a run. Yeah. I did hear a few bits of action outside, but I'd gone past by that time, so I saw none of these daft little I'll hit you if you come near me. You know, well, I didn't see much of that. So there was no police beating anybody up or anything.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. And there were fireworks. How about
again?
Yeah. Oh, we don't stop. And so with that, we'll come to an end of this program. And so this was the end of the Chairboys chat. Wycombe episode 23. Wycombe,
I don't think you said that quite right.
Versus Oxford United or something like that.
Featuring Premier League strikers and Kierans Quiz time and just a laugh.
Yeah, just a laugh. Just a laugh. Okay. With that, we'll say goodbye. Kieran, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
And I'll say goodbye. We'll see you next time.